Hello from Cascade Canyon. This is my favorite hike in all of Grand Teton National Park, and if you are wondering if this hike is worth it or how to do this hike, we're going to show you that today. Today we are going to hike Cascade Canyon, which is my favorite hike in Grand Teton National Park. It's known for all the wildlife. We did pick an interesting time to go though. It's a Saturday, 4th of July weekend, the dead middle of summer, and it's 1 p.m. right now, so we did not get up early. We're breaking all our own rules against traffic and crowds. So we're gonna see, number one, if we can find a parking space and just how bad the crowds are in true peak summer season.
The drive to String Lake can take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic if you're coming from Jackson.
When you're getting a little frustrated seeing traffic or running into crowds on the trail, don't be too disappointed. Oftentimes it means that there's some sort of wildlife off in the bushes. It's actually something to look forward to rather than grumble about.
Despite the Grand Teton being 13,775 feet tall, its peak will be blocked by the steeps of its neighboring cliffs once you're in Cascade Canyon.
That's Cascade Canyon right in there. And you see all these cars are at the Jenny Lake Visitor Center, which is one of the places you can park. And honestly, I don't know that String Lake is going to be any better.
It took us about 20-ish minutes to find a parking spot. And our biggest pro tip for you guys is to pray. There is no other way you are going to find a parking spot besides divine intervention.
There are three main ways to get to Cascade Canyon when you're doing it as a day hike. Number one is to park at the Jenny Lake Visitor Center and hike 2.5 miles in. You'll get to Cascade Canyon and then you hike those same 2.5 miles out. Way number two is also parking at the Jenny Lake Visitor Center, and you can take the Jenny Lake boat shuttle to get here. That's going to trim off that first 2.5 miles. You'll just hike up to Inspiration Point and then come back here into Cascade Canyon for as long as you want. That's awesome because you don't get your legs tired with some hiking at the beginning, but it does cost $20 and it usually has a pretty long line. Way number three is what we did today. We parked at String and Lee Lake parking lots. There's a few of them. It is a lot harder to find parking here because you can't just go down the side of the road like you can at Jenny Lake. Luckily, we found a parking spot. We walked 2.3 miles to get to the Hidden Falls Inspiration Point area, and now we're back here in Cascade Canyon and we'll hike those same 2.3 miles out to get back to our car.
If you're coming from the String Lake trailhead like we did, you'll start by walking downstream until you merge with the Jenny Lake Loop. We highly recommend taking out some paddleboards here if you ever get the chance. You'll know if you're getting close to Hidden Falls when you pass the massive line of people waiting for the next shuttle boat.
And then the whole dock is full as well.
Not only does that cost $20 a person, but it looks like the line would take even longer than hiking.
Although the crowds may tempt you to skip it, the waterfall is only 1 minute away from the fork in the trailhead. There's no need to hang out here, but it's definitely worth the peak before continuing up to Inspiration Point.
The hike around Jenny Lake to the boat drop-off is actually pretty flat, and so is Cascade Canyon itself, but Inspiration Point and Hidden Falls are definitely not. So if you can stick it out for a mile, the other parts are really flat, but expect like a mile of pretty hard elevation gain.
The steep and tiring hike up to Inspiration Point can discourage people from going further, causing a majority of the crowds to turn back. This means that Cascade Canyon is typically less busy than other popular hikes in the national park. For those that do make it up here, you can expect to find a host of friendly chipmunks begging for food.
Can't touch this.
Feeding these little guys is so tempting because they're so cute, but it is so bad for them. Don't do it.
While we're taking a little break, let's go through my bag and see what to bring on the hike. And the most important thing is definitely water. If you're from sea level or just not from this altitude, basically anyone that's not from Denver, be sure to bring tons of water and start drinking it the second you get off the plane or the second you arrive in town. Altitude sickness is real and it sucks. I've seen tons of people projectile vomiting high up in the mountains. You don't want to be that person, so bring plenty of water and actually drink it. Drink it before you get a headache. Next up, we've got hiking snacks, sandwiches, granola bars, dried mango. You don't want to hike on an empty stomach. We've got sunglasses, I have sunscreen, chapstick, and then another super important thing is bear spray. Hopefully you won't see a bear, or if you do, it'll be really far away and just cool, but it's super important to have in case you do run into a bear. You want to have it somewhere super accessible, so a lot of people like to have it on the front of their pack, down on their waistband. I have mine in the side so it's easy for Jay to grab, although it'd be more ideal to have it in a spot that's easier for me to reach by myself.
As you begin the hike back into Cascade Canyon, always keep your eye out for wildlife. If you're not careful, you could be walking right by the animals without even knowing it.
walk back into Cascade Canyon, if you haven't seen any wildlife yet, just start asking people on the trail. If you're extroverted enough to say hi, you're extroverted enough to ask if they've seen any wildlife. And I can almost guarantee they'll say, oh yeah, we saw a baby and a mama here. We saw some grizzlies across the way. That'll help encourage and motivate you if anyone in your party's getting discouraged.
Be patient and keep going. Don't forget to enjoy the beauty of the canyon. Between its steep cliffs, gentle waterfalls, and streams, it feels like a small glimpse of heaven. It's only a matter of time until you get to have some pretty incredible wildlife encounters just like we did.
What do you see, lady?
A moose and a bull moose with antlers and everything. Oh yeah, get it.
Oh, I'm getting the heck out of him.
We were lucky to be able to watch this guy from a safe distance. With any big game like moose, bison, and bears, it's recommended to stay at least 100 yards away. After watching the moose for a while, we noticed the weather starting to change.
This morning when we were driving in, we were noticing it kind of looked like there was a lot of clouds in the sky. We're like, hopefully it doesn't start with a thunderstorm. And then like 5 minutes ago, we noticed we were under dark clouds. We just heard thunder, and almost immediately after, it started raining. We're still like 2 miles from the car. Let's hope we're not soaked by the time we get there. In case you didn't know, Jackson is home to inclement weather, and rainstorms can come out of nowhere. So always be prepared with a rain jacket.
Hey, buddy.
If this happens to you, know that you can still take the shuttle boat for an impromptu one-way ticket back.
We made it back to the car, wet but not drenched. It is now 6:45. We left the car at like 2, so overall it took us almost 5 hours. We took a lot of stops to take photos, videos. We were also hiking at a decent pace though. So if you're a slower hiker, or if you like to take a lot of breaks, that's probably how long it'll take you.
Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys can see between the gorgeous views and all the wildlife why this is Nina and I's favorite hike in all of Grand Teton National Park. Go ahead and comment down below what your favorite hike is, and hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more Jackson Hole content.